I'm Sue Stalewski. I'm also from UW-Milwaukee. I'm a clinical associate professor in the College of Health Sciences, and I actually teach in the medical laboratory science program. I'm also the director of e-learning for my college, so I split my attentions. And I actually have a bad habit of joining whatever technology project our LTC is proposing. So I did begin, I did begin the ePortfolio project in 2009, and somebody was asking earlier about students including work from multiple courses, and I can show you a little bit of an example of that. And I would say I'm not, some of the demos that I've seen today have been fabulous. I don't have anything that fabulous to show you. But what I do want to talk about is the our goals in implementing ePortfolio in a medical professional program. And that's not something that we have traditionally done. Actually, it's quite new to us. Here we go. Oh, but she's not talking. So, in the College of Health Sciences, we have a number of majors: occupational therapy, physical therapy, rad tech, medical informatics, athletic training, kinesiology, and I'm in the medical lab science program. These are all very different kinds of programs, but some of the things they have in common are most of them have accreditation standards, so they have external bodies who direct the curriculum to a certain extent. For some of our majors, there's a very competitive market, which might surprise you because we don't often think right now in this market of health professions as being competitive, but some of them are. Most have a very strong continuing education requirement post-graduation. So the ability to export the ePortfolio and continue to build on it is very important to us. Many or most of all of our professions are certified or licensed. So this is a potential way for students to document the work that they need to do for that. We're starting to see a significant e-learning component in all of our programs, and we have all of our students off campus in externships or internships for up to 2 years. So the need to be able to document those experiences are also very important. What are some of the goals that we want as programs for ePortfolios? We definitely want it to be relevant to learning, so not an add-on project, which I think maybe we've all been guilty of from time to time, adding something cool that students don't get. And I think I've had that issue even in my own classes with the ePortfolio project. There's especially in the medical and rad tech programs, they're very technology-based, very laboratory, kind of thing. And the students are not used to reflecting on their learning. So that's a big leap for them to start thinking about, well, what did I get out of this and why did I have to do that? So for me personally, with my own students, it's been a struggle, but I think it's really important. As I said, many of our students are off campus for extended periods of time, and we want to integrate those experiences. Even though they're evaluated off-site, it's usually a paper, pencil sort of a thing, and there's not a real coherence to those evaluations. So long-term, we hope the ePortfolio from D2L is adopted so that the effort we invest now will be worth it. We'd like to create standard forms and feedback types of vehicles for our preceptors off campus to work with. We want to be able to demonstrate the curricular standards for our accreditation organizations, and we want to adopt it across the curriculum. Right now we only have a limited number of courses that are using this, but we're talking about a cohort of students that begin in their junior year usually and follow through till they graduate. So it's a perfect vehicle for documenting that progress and learning as we go through. And again, I said we want students to link the didactic and their learning experiences and also to evaluate themselves. I should also say that I don't think UWM is alone in this, but we are undergoing a significant reevaluation of our general education and then also assessment. They're all laughing. I guess everybody's on that. I happen to be on that committee, so I'm kind of in the middle of it. And assessment. And as we talk about authentic assessment, the ePortfolio is bandied around in my college, even though not too many people know much about it. But it will certainly be a tool that we're looking to use as we go forward. What do we want the students to get out of this? We want them to plan their reflections, organize things, use for future employment. Somebody said that before. We want them to be able to revise it over time, so the electronic format is useful. Use it for professional certification, and especially to start planning for lifelong learning and that continuing education that they need to adopt. Personally, I have adopted the ePortfolio for my classes as a way to foster that professional development. So the types of things that you would expect a professional to do, not just a student. And I also have to say that we use different tools. I have personally used different tools, Google Sites and webs.com and blog products. Here's what happens. The students do individual projects in these free or low-cost tools, and then that's the end of that because then somebody else does something else. And so as we, as a faculty, start adopting these kinds of self-reflective and public products, if we're all using something different, that's very frustrating for our students. That's kind of a new learning for me, to tell you the truth, because frankly, some of the freestanding, I'll show you an example of something I did, are so easy for the students to get. They're very intuitive and simple, but there's no persistence there. So here's what we believe are the pros of using the D2L tool versus one of those others. And of course, students can import course artifacts. It's standard for them across all the courses, so the time that some of you are investing up front in the beginning with entry-level students pays off the entire time. The learner can control the display of their information. So Matt said earlier, it needs to be more than just a repository, but the cool thing is it can be a repository, that they can control them what they want to share and show, which is really nice because you can't always do that with other products. They can customize their products and it's secure. On the downside, there is kind of a high startup value to the D2L ePortfolio, a fair amount of student and instructor work before the students can use it well. Because it's a pilot, we always have that, well, are we going to keep going kind of a thing, and are we investing our time well? The other thing that my students and maybe some of yours have identified is that because it's a pilot, only the courses that are EP courses can put things into that, and so they can't import grades across or even artifacts across different courses. There's the faculty development, and then we do continue to have the concern about transportability. Let's see if this opens. So although this is not an ePortfolio, our ePortfolio, it is an ePortfolio. I started with the ePortfolio in 2009 with a cohort of students. And then I had a new cohort that started this summer, but it was a very short course. And so due to my own time constraints and theirs, I didn't have the opportunity to work with them in our products. So this is just a Google site. So I want to show you that they can do that, but now they're going to be mad at me because I'm going to make them import that into their D2L ePortfolio in the spring. So sort of a bad judgment on my part, I guess. Okay, so what do we want to do going forward? We are going to work as a faculty on implementing this in this particular program, Medical Lab Science, and I should tell you that my entire college, as you're talking about storage and resource, my entire college is talking about doing this beginning with the freshman seminar. So Matt, put that on your radar, I guess. Our plan is definitely to help the students build their skills. I've heard some of you talk about that. To definitely add reflective elements. Like I said earlier, that's not an important component of our coursework, but it should be. And then we want to tie in some accreditation requirements. So like the teacher standards, we have standards regarding information literacy, principles of education, and so on and so forth, that we want to be able to document both for the student and for the accrediting organization. And again, as I said, really to develop that professionalism component, including service learning and other work that they do. So our next steps really are, aside from incorporating it into all the coursework, I can't tell you for sure how fast that will happen. You know how it is to try and get a whole group of people to do things. So we need some faculty development buy-in. I think better demonstrations from those of us who are users will be helpful. And then demonstrating that value to our clinical affiliates also, especially as we can have joint evaluations. I think they'll find a great value with that. And I'll show you an example real quick of some ePortfolio work that we did. Okay. These were students in a clinical chemistry class. And I don't know if you can see that very well, but here's information that went in 2009 and 2010. So that student was able to access that information, or the ePortfolio, over courses that I had. And they didn't make, they made collections. This was an example of actually a development course that they, or lab development that they did. And all they really did was post or share with me their reflections, some documents, a PowerPoint. And the nice thing, I think someone else said this too, you can respond directly into their ePortfolio, so they have that also. So what we did should not be intimidating to anybody. It was pretty straightforward and simple. I think anybody could do it, but I do believe, as my colleagues have said, that upfront planning and work with the students before just having them jump in is very, very important. Question? Okay, thanks.